What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Bluebird Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, undisputed, junior welterweight, world champion, British superstar boxer, Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor took on and defended his titles this weekend against undefeated British star title contender, Jack Catterall. Josh Taylor is now 19 wins, no losses, no draws. Josh Taylor is 31 years of age. Josh Taylor is 5'10" with a 69.5-inch arm reach. Okay. With that said, he took on Jack Catterall, who was 26 wins, no losses, no draws. Jack Catterall is 27, I believe, years of age, and he is 5'7.5" with a 68-inch arm reach. Okay. So with that said, it was a very interesting night of boxing this past Saturday. Jack Catterall was the WBO, World Boxing Organization, mandatory challenger for Josh Taylor. Okay. So Josh Taylor, he took on Jack Catterall. He had a long layoff, extensive layoff. But, in the fight, Josh Taylor, he showed a lot of vulnerabilities. Okay. Josh Taylor has, 13 wins by way of knockout. Okay. He had been out the ring since he last fought Jose Ramirez in the Undisputed showdown that took place in May of 2021. Okay, so he's been out the ring he was teetering on close to a year. Okay, Jack Catterall, neither guy big punches. Jack Catterall with 13 knockouts in his career, 28 years of age. Okay, but in this fight, Josh Taylor was a 16-1 favorite to have won this fight. Okay, but in the fight, it didn't play out that way. Most people expected Josh Taylor to walk right through Jack Catterall. Okay, this was a fight that was just supposed to be, a stair step to Josh Taylor competing at welterweight against undefeated 3-division world champion, former undisputed junior welterweight, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Crawford is 38 wins, no losses, no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, okay, Josh Taylor had been calling out Terrence Crawford. He's considered to be top 5 on the pound-for-pound list. He's undisputed. He's the 5th fighter in history of the sport of boxing to become undisputed, the 2nd undisputed junior welterweight, southpaw. He dropped Jose Ramirez twice in their fight. He beat the likes of Regis Prograis. He won the Muhammad Ali trophy in the tournament. And Josh Taylor is a superstar in the sport of boxing, okay? And big things are expected from Josh Taylor. Now, this Jack Catterall fight had to come to fruition because Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, they paid Jack Catterall step-aside money because he was already the WBO mandatory challenger, and he was on the verge of preventing us from getting the undisputed fight between Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. But they paid Jack Catterall step-aside money, but in the contract, right? Because we already knew that Josh Taylor was talking about moving up in weight, okay? And so with that said, they paid Jack Catterall step-aside money, but in his contract, they had to agree the winner to fight Jack Catterall before they vacated and move out the division and give him the opportunity to fight for those titles, okay? And so with that said, he had to honor this fight with Jack Catterall opposed to just moving up out the division and fighting the best opposition out there, okay? And so this was seen as a stay busy, step up fight, for Jack Catterall, but it's a tune-up type of stay busy type of fight for Josh Taylor, okay? And so with that said, it was anything but that. I had Jack Catterall winning the first 6 rounds in this fight, and then he dropped Josh Taylor in the 8th round. Josh Taylor had no answers for the left hand. Okay, Josh Taylor had no answers for the jab. He had no answers for, Jack Catterall's defense, right? He kept slipping underneath Josh Taylor's punches. Josh Taylor looked very sloppy. He looked very uncoordinated. He looked very fatigued at times, right? And so he was throwing his jab. He wasn't sharp. He was throwing his jab. He was missing. He would fall and lean all over Jack Catterall, right? And so many people thought that Josh Taylor lost the fight, okay? Many people. But at the end, he got the decision. And many people wasn't happy with the decision, okay? And so with that said, Josh Taylor, he initially stated that he thought he clearly won this fight against Jack Catterall, and that, there was no reason, because they don't have a rematch clause, and there was absolutely no reason for him to rematch Jack Catterall, and he wanted a split decision, okay? And so you had his boxing pundits, his peers, commentators, media, fans they were complaining. They thought that Josh Taylor clearly lost the fight. They thought Jack Catterall was robbed in this fight, okay? And that he deserved to get a rematch. And Josh Taylor said, there's no reason for me to rematch this man because we don't have a rematch clause. And I thought I clearly won the fight. Well, now Josh Taylor, he stated that he got a lot of unwarranted messages, him and his family. He stated that now after having a few days to look at it and rethink things and, you know, to let the emotions and adrenaline die down and, you know, to watch the fight a few more times. Now Josh Taylor is saying that he believes Jack Catterall deserves a rematch. He stated that he believes he still thought he won the fight. But after watching the fight, it was a very, very close fight, and he can see why the fans are upset. But he stated it didn't warrant what he's getting. You know, the fans are calling for. You know, the things he's being called and his family. You know, so he stated that, you know, it's unfair, it's unwarranted because it's still a sport at the end of the day. And his days at junior welterweight at 140 are limited because he stated that I'm simply outgrowing the division. But I never shy away from a challenge. So he stated that he believes that Jack Catterall warrants a rematch because now he stated, I'll rewatch the fight a few times and I can see why people said that Jack Catterall won the fight. I still think I won, but I think that he deserves the opportunity to get a rematch. It has to be immediately because I'm growing out the division. So Josh Taylor is letting the world know I have to immediately rematch Jack Catterall. I cannot sit around and wait for Jack Catterall. If he wants a rematch, it has to happen immediately because my days at junior welterweight are numbered. I cannot make the weight comfortably like I once did. And I agree. Josh Taylor is if you ever see Josh Taylor in person, he's very big, okay? And for Josh Taylor to compete at junior welterweight at 140, it makes you wonder, how does he even get down there? Because Josh Taylor, you know, he has a wiry frame, but he's bigger than Terrence Crawford, okay? He's bigger than, you know, welterweights. He's bigger than Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. He's about the same size, if not a little bit bigger than Errol Spence. He's about the same size as about a Jerron Boots Ennis. So how does Josh Taylor, with that frame, still make 140 pounds when these fighters are crunching down to 147? That's 7 pounds north of where he's fighting, right? So how does he even get to come down to 140? Well, he's letting you know, I've outgrown the division. I can't do it anymore. And if the world wants to see Jack Catterall get his opportunity at a rematch, at an opportunity at these titles, it has to be immediately. I'm immediately looking to challenge Jack Catterall. He deserves it. And then I'm out. I'm leaving this division. Now, if you watch the fight, right? Again, I personally thought that Jack Catterall won the first 6 rounds, maybe 5-1, 6-0, in my opinion. Then he got the knockdown. But then the referee took a point from him. Then the referee took a point from Josh Taylor. I thought the referee completely inserted himself far too much in this fight. He made himself known for no reason, okay? And I feel like Jack Catterall won the fight. But I knew in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th round, he took his foot off the gas. And you can't take your foot off the gas in Josh Taylor's backyard in Scotland, okay? You can't take your foot off the gas against somebody that's 16-1, favorite over you. You can't take your foot off the gas when the referee just took a point from you. You can't take your foot off the gas when he's the pound-for-pound fighter in this situation. He's the superstar in this situation. You're relatively unknown. You cannot take your foot off the gas. And Jack Catterall, he took his foot off the gas in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th round. In those championship rounds, when I did my stream, I told the world that he needs to win one of these rounds decisively. He definitely needs to win one of these rounds decisively. So that way, the judges will lean towards him winning this fight. But if he doesn't, they're going to give it to Josh Taylor, simply because Josh Taylor was the aggressor. Josh Taylor is the champion. He's the undisputed champion. He's the pound-for-pound fighter. He's 16-1 favorite. He's in his backyard. You have to take it away from him. And in those late rounds, in those championship rounds, Jack Catterall, he leaned back. He laid back. He allowed Josh Taylor to be the aggressor. He allowed Josh Taylor to control the pace of the fight. And you absolutely cannot do that and get a nod and get the victory. That's not going to happen. And so I knew the judges was going to favor Josh Taylor because of that. But if you look at the scorecard, now one of the scorecards, one of the judges had it an extremely wide margin for Josh Taylor, which I don't know what fight. He missed a good fight. He missed a great fight. but that's not surprising. But on the other Georgia scorecards, they had it very close. The last judge that was the difference maker had it very close. So imagine if Jack Catterall had just won one of those rounds without the referee's point deduction, he wins the fight. He wins the split decision. But again, he allowed Josh Taylor to control the pace of the fight, control the narrative in the championship rounds. He looked fatigued. He looked tired. He didn't have much on his punches. He looked sloppy. And Josh Taylor, he looked sloppy. He looked fatigued, but he still was the aggressor, where Jack Catterall was trying to fight off the back foot and at times being relatively inactive as well. And I knew that wasn't going to go his way. But at least now Josh Taylor has admitted that he believes, and I feel like Josh Taylor is admitting he lost the fight. But he can't tell the world I lost the fight. You understand? He has to say, I still thought I won the fight. But it was a very close fight that warrants a rematch because Jack Catterall came to fight. No, you rewatch the fight and you can see where the fans, the boxing pundits, your peers, and the media are outraged. And you can understand and oblige them. And the way you want to right the wrong is by giving him his immediate rematch, which is well-deserved, and it's a stand-up situation on the part of Josh Taylor. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.